from the cracked mud of the savannah where the animals played and smeared to keep cool, to the red bank clay that preserved our port water, to that fascinating tree from a seed that fell on a rock yet still blossomed life. All this seems as magic, maybe, but this was home. Karibu nyumbani. Hello good people of the internet, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to tour this pretty and it's a very amazing house. So tag along with me for the next few minutes and yeah, let's get into it. So we're going to start with its plan, and it's on a plot of a quarter-acre lot, so that's equivalent to a plot of 100 by 100 feet, and if you to put it into meters, with our plot is about 27 meters by about 37.5 meters. Now convert that to square area and you find out maybe it's about somewhere around the 1068.27 square meters, so equivalent literally to 100 by 100 feet lot. So it's a 4-bedroom house, 4 bedrooms on the house and about 2 detached, that's with the guest house. And then it also comes with a very different package. So the usability of this house, it comes in at this point where it's for older people. We would say it's a house for a mature couple that has had their kids live home, but maybe they have their grandchildren about. Yeah, so this house, due to where it is, the location, and actually this is an actual client house, it can afford to have a business at the front of the house and then the actual home at the back. So actually the business at the front of the house is there to generate the daily expense money for this home, since the owners actually no longer work. So at the front of the house we have maybe a shop, a supermarket, and maybe something like a pharmacy, and then another shop. Yeah, and they also can afford to have a parking space here, maybe about 4 cars. You could also add somewhere a place to park bikes, something of that sort. So yeah, that is it. And if you're to get into the concept, you're going to find out that according to how our house is oriented, and let's get back into space. According to how our house is oriented, this is our north. That means that our sun actually moves east to west, and you could see that this house only receives peak sun hours literally in the evening at the front of the house, and maybe at the start of the day the sun is in the back. Now we're going to see that by the time that the house is maybe oriented to direct scorching heat from direct sun rays, you're going to see that that side of the house we actually do not have any liable openings that are really that huge to get into the house. Now why would we do that? Why You could ask, why are we doing that? Again, it's for the thermal insulation of the house. We don't need to always have AC on. We are in a very beautiful country that is blessed with this very good weather. I know our sun actually even is not that much scorching, but we need to have these cooler temperatures. And if you to see at the front here, we have these very huge open doors, and again, these will be letting in a lot of heat and sunlight maybe at the evening hours, but we still have something like a shade going out to create that nice covering over them. And yeah, you can just look at it from the renders that will be popping up. You look at it from the tour that we're going to have around the house, and you're going to appreciate how much we try to shade these areas. Yeah. All right, so the 4 bedrooms, as I said earlier, so you have a bedroom there, bedroom there, bedroom there, bedroom there. Then you have these 2 detached, and everything else. You could have your store maybe around there. You're having a detached kitchen around there. You could categorize it as a chef's kitchen. Yeah, about there. You have the outside toilets. Then we're having the house is fully detailed. It has each and everything, and we're going to go through them. If I was to take you back on the plan, maybe for us to appreciate more the spaces that are available, you could see that we have a laundry room number 11 about there. We have a pantry space number 8 about there. We have a utility room. Now you could ask, what is a utility room? This is a room where we have the brains of the house. That could mean the systems that are running the house, like internet. You have the batteries for the power backup, and in Uganda, power backup is a necessity. You could have everything else that runs electronics, or the major utilities, maybe the Yaka meters and everything right there. That's number 9 for you. And then number 4, number 5, number 6, and number 7 are all bedrooms. Then you could have your dining. That's number 2. You have a living room as number 1. You have a powder room, categorized as a powder room, but it's mainly a common bathroom. Yeah, and that's number 10 for you. Then you have these 2 bedrooms right here, number 18 and number 16. That's in the guest suite of the house with a shared bathroom full one. That's number 17. Number 13 is more of the chef's kitchen, as I had said, the chef's kitchen, or you could say your detached kitchen to do the outside stuff. You could categorize it as a wet kitchen also. And then you have number 12 as the major store space for you to store everything you can't store in the main pantry about there. That's including bunches of matoke and all those other things. So number 29 you have, that is your GCP, for the garbage collection point for you to manage your garbage and all that. You have about number 28, that is like your laundry space, where you have to put out your clothing for drying, and also you have things to dry up stuff. So here number 30 is the food garden. In Africa we love our food gardens. We need to have food at home, and in COVID I think all of us appreciated those gardens at home. So without further ado, let's head out to tour the house.
Right, let's take the tour. Let's get into it. So this is the front of the project. And as you see, this is the front part of the plot. So the front part of the plot, remember on the floor plan, we have shops, and we left this bit of it for parking. This is about 3.5 meters wide, and then we also had some sort of greenery taking place right there, and then at the front of the shops. So if we are to look at how we really place this out, and our plot being at a junction, we get to have these very, very great, very good perspective views, and I believe there's a render of a place like that, of this shot exactly. So if we are to enter into the establishment, from maybe say here, you can see we have sort of like a clothing shop that we assumed could take a good good use of this space, where we have that large window, and then the shop, I believe the shop is maybe 4 meters by 3.5, and then continuing in the walkway, you could see we have our supermarket right there, and I believe there are renders that will be popping up of these views. And if you have to look at these, you have your small counter area about there, and all this space could be used up really well. And I believe it's maybe 7 meters still by about 3.5 4 meters. Then here you have the pharmacy, and I believe it also has a render of this very exact space, and you could see that it's very wide enough. You could place your seating right there, and I believe in the renders there is seating. And then you also have the other shop, and this was imagined as a grocery shop where you get to buy your daily supplies of the home, the simple ones, the bread, food, and those simple ones. And continuingly, we have a toilet right there, and this heads to the female toilet. And I believe they have two similar units right there. And then you have your vanity. You have your vanity about there, and a mirror, well lit. And I believe there is a render of such a similar sort of view. And then if you're to get out, we could continue and head to the male wing. The male wing with their simple vanity about there, and then you have the urinals and also the single water closet about right there. Alright, so when you step out, exactly right here is where you find you have a place for the bikes, and yeah, you have the other exit. So the shops are really well contained, that they are self-sufficient without the backplot, in a way that they have their own sort of loose. They also have their own they're standalone, like people could walk here without disturbing you at the back. So if you were to continue swiftly, we reach the main side of the plot. This is where we have the entry. We have our gate right there, and then you have the front wall. So first I would have loved to explain some of these things right here. So you can see here, and these portions these are like signboards. So yeah, so don't be there asking yourself what are these colors, stuff like that. So these are signboards, and I remember if you watched our first video, if you haven't, please go and watch it. We explain why we use this different sort of material to show out some things. So let's talk about our gate right here. Again, following the same principle like the previous video, please go back and watch the video. You could see that we have similar facade of the gate, where we have that seamlessness coming. So now this is a little bit broken, where we have the material of the fence and then the material of the gate. Yes, similar in design, but now we try to put in different sort of material. And if you're to look at our gate design, very contemporary and nothing crazy taking place in. Alright, let's get in and then we talk about the front of the house. Have a look at this view. Wow. So first let's talk about this. So what's the inspiration behind this house? Why do we have this? So talking about this, we tried our major sort of inspiration was coming from cracked clay. So we wanted to create the sorts of cracked patterns of clay. And if you're to look at the renders, they will show you like this material right here is actually finished as cracked clay. And then this is sort of similar to a clay finishing, a burnt clay finish. And then we had this mood lighting go through. Now the mood lighting comes in, and from we were thinking this would also be cracks, but now this is more of geometrical cracking rather than the spontaneous one that happens naturally, where we get to open up these spaces, sort of the whole concept of an opening of a crack that's took place. So yeah, that is what we were looking at. And if you're to look at the front, I believe we could be having a render of this sort. So this is what we are having. And then more into the cracked formula that we were looking at is that within the cracks we wanted to have like a sort of life come out of these cracks. You know how a stone cracks, but then a seed plants itself in between the cracks, and then sooner or later we are seeing a flourishing tree come out. So that's why we have sort of these planters that are going to be holding creeping plants coming through. And then if you look at the openings we created, like at the top, the mode of life that was coming out were the lights that we put to actually come through. So the front of the house is really this modern way of inspired from an African sort of thing that happens. And I think you people have seen clay that really dries up, muddy, and then cracks, and then you're like, yeah. So for us, that was sort of the inspiration. So at the front, we also have this small play area, small garden. And I believe if you watched the first video again, why am I going back to the first video, is that both these projects are sharing a little bit of here and there. So again, you know why we have these small gardens right here for kids to play and all that. So let's first really tour the outside and get to fully satisfy ourselves with what is taking place. So coming back here to the main entry, you could see we have a park lot of 3 cars that is shaded, and then the wall parkscape, as I had explained earlier starting the video. You can know that the plot could handle maybe about 7 cars in the inside part here of the home. So if you're to look at the concept of the front, is that in normal homes here in Africa, you know, you have something sort of a front porch. You have sort of a front porch, and then you enter and all that. Well, with this concept, we were looking more of a guided access to the home. I really want you to feel the way I need you to feel. Like when you get into the establishment, what do you see? So here we have sort of like planters. We could plant and maybe have some landscaping taking place, and then you see within the cracks that I'd mentioned, we have sort of life coming out, the creeping plants creeping out. And then I would love you to take that sort of reflective walk, as of course you appreciate the material that we used, plus wondering how the life really comes out of that sort of I would love to call it messiness. Yeah. And then if you're to look at right there, we have our paved walkings, and then you have sort of like the skylight coming in form of a pergola and the lighting, and you know, then you arrive at the front entry. Well, we shall come back to that, but that's the whole mood that's behind that. And then you could walk through, then come to the gardens right there, and then you could walk around and really appreciate how this works out. You get to see why we have this sort of eaves that we are having over these windows that make a lot of sense with the lights coming in. And then you have the big windows. These are 2x2, by the way, 2x2 meter windows with maybe a window sill of about 400 millimeters. Then you have the planters right there. You get to experience the whole mood. So if you're to walk around the whole establishment, is that you feel the sense of that wholeness of the messiness that was received from the cracked clay, the material that we chose, and then was really organized well together. And if you to look at the concept behind everything, it really comes out really well. And I believe there are renders of these spaces. And then if you to come back here, I did explain a little bit here. This is the master bedroom side, which has that sort of like a simple balcony there, you know, the setup, the vibe. And then you could continue this side all around, and then you get to reach the back garden where you in this case, we put some sort of trees, but in a Ugandan home typically is where we have our matoke growing around, yes. And then you continue around, you get to see the whole concept of the build coming together, stuff that looks like well put together. Why the windows are like that. And I love the weather that the sun is working out here, that you could see why we have our windows in these portions, how they are receiving light, how they're working with how sunlight really interacts with the whole building. And then you could get to see the backyard where we have our laundry space where we could put our clothing, and then we have these places to really wash clothes, or even you're organizing sort of like function at home with the places to really wash heavy dishes, stuff like that. And then you have a place for your garbage management, and then you have the back porch, yeah. And then you continue around the whole establishment. And so if you to come around, you get to see that here you have the door to maybe the outside kitchen. In this case, you would preferably call it like the chef's kitchen. And then on this other side, you have the door to your outside store. And then you continue around, you get to see your vegetable garden now coming around. Then love us to take a route to this side, and then this side you really walk to the outside sort of toilets. Then you get to see we have a render, I think, of this exact area, how it would look like. And I believe in the render it does a lot of justice. It has the mirrors and everything. You get to see the lighting. Yeah, we have the toilets come in there, like 2 of them, of course. And then you have the outside shower. And on the renders, you would see how these things really came out really well. And again, the mood lighting follows you actually up to the toilets. And then you get to come around. You get to see the vegetable garden, as I had said earlier. And in the renders, I believe here we could, you will see that we have sort of a garden sitting area taking place in your vegetables. And then you get to see your dining space, the door to your kitchen. Let's first walk around the whole outside of the project, and then I know you're eager to enter, but by the time you enter, a lot will be explained. So we have this space that leads you to the guest wing. Again, more planters. You get to see the back. This time I did a woodies. I really love these cars. And then you get to see the guest wing again. The big windows. By the way, the moment these windows are open, they bring that vibe of a balcony. I would categorically say Juliet balcony. So I get to see good design that is taking place right there. And again, this is not only for design; it's functional design. We would have really have loved to maybe not have this, but why are we having this again? Is how our windows interact with the weather, the water, the sun, the wind. How the whole project interacts with the elements. It gets to have the toilets right there and the entry to the rooms. So basically, this is us touring all around before we actually take a look into the inside. I believe we have renders of this space, how it's going to come about. And without further ado, let me take you to the front, to the house, to the inside, so that you get to really appreciate how the inside is. So first, let's talk about the entry. You get to see we have a picture window here for a peep view. The people inside would have to look outside. The people outside would really also love to look into the inside. Plus, who wouldn't want to see this beauty of a piece from the inside still? Like the cracked clay with the light. And by the way, how the light will be interacting with these walls is really, really, really godlike. The thing will look really good. And then when you enter right here, we have like a bench right there. That bench is for maybe putting on your shoes, sit around. Yeah, you could even have a conversation at your entry. No point. And then you have sort of a canvas there. And then this is what you look at the entry. Basically, you're looking at the living room, but you get to see that whole design come together. Again, you're on an elevated sort of ground. Then when you step into the house and you look at this view of this area. So if you to look at the seating orientation oriented to our screen right there, and by the way, that could be maybe easily a 100-inch. So the TV wall is really huge enough to accommodate that. Then you have the seamless patterns right here of this sort of wallpapering that will take place. But the wallpapering continues to the other side, that this space looks seamless, yet it also has an entry to sort of a walkway, a corridor to the rooms. So if you're to look around the whole space, so we have the two entries to the 2 bedrooms on this wing and the 2 bedrooms on that wing, and I believe we shall go there later. Let's first have a look at the common spaces. So the dining here is an 8-seater orientation, and I believe you could do a 10-seater, you could do a 6-seater, but really spacious dining space. And we have our wash hand basins about there, and again I spoke about this earlier in the video before, why in Africa it's very useful to really have wash hand basins in your dining, due to the food we eat and how we eat it. And we have a breakfast table right there, and it could also purposefully serve as a bar area, and then this side leads us to the common bathroom, and wow, very simplistic and minimal, and it looks really nice. So judging it that way, I would step out again to go to the kitchen. And again, here you have a view of your garden, of your vegetable garden. So the kitchen is really spacious, and if you're to step into it, it's open concept, yet it feels private. You walk into this space that you really still have access openly to the dining area, but you have your privacy still when you're cooking about there. That's let me expand a little bit about this because we love this thing. So this is a pot filler, and you know how much that is really useful if you have cooked in the kitchen with a pot filler. How good these things could really be. And then you have your 5-burner gas, and then you have your simple sink, again the big windows, and then you have your top shelving, you have your hood, and then you have more cabinetry and an island there to do the work. You have your refrigerator about there, double door, and then you have more working space and more pantry space. We have renders of how the whole of this comes together, and if you're looking at the ceilings were really good. And then if you to continue, you have this, I would classify it as like a utilitarian sort of corridor, where on your left is a pantry, and I believe we have renders of this space to store the easy things to access in the main house at night. Usually this is the most snackable foods and the things to easily prepare. And then on the right opposite, you have a utility room. This is where you put the solar stuff, the server, the internet server, the house brain, all that. We are heading to smart houses, and you need to have a CPU for the whole house. And then you also have it's air rated. And then you have the laundry room. This is where you have those are washing machine and dryer. And then you're looking at sort of your oversized sort of basins for you to do the normal washing, and then shelving there for what you've done with. Right, and then this is the door that heads you back outside to the back porch we saw earlier. And then let's head out to the bedrooms and you get to see what's taking place. And I believe the renders will pop up here and there for you to see how this looks like. So this corridor leads us to where we have the master bedroom and also one other bedroom that could be for kids but a little bit larger, that it could be shared. And this side we have 2 single rooms. So let's take the one on the right first. So looking at this, wow, queen size beds, and you have sort of in the render you will see why we have that niche, to put a stool. And when you open up these sort of wardrobes right there, the inside has sort of like a makeup table preparation, to prepare yourself up. And then it's en suite again, where you have, yep, that's a vanity right there, and then you have your water closet, and this is sort of like a trash person, trash can. That does so much. And then you have your walk-in shower, and that's it. Then you walk out, and then let's go to the next bedroom. So yeah, and then one thing I would love really for Ugandan sort of real estate industry to start doing is, these new houses that you do. Stop. Houses are really expensive. I would really love for my expensive house that you're selling me maybe 400 USD, 400,000. Houses have become that expensive in the country, really. But you should have these bed walls, and the bed wall shouldn't be plastered or sort of. Okay, it could be plastered, but it should be different. It should be textured. Well, for us, we went with more synthetic material. Things like leather. In the renders, you would see this is Alcantara, this is leather of different type of sort, and you could choose materials that are more warm, that are more gentle on the skin, rather than the hardness that is all around. And yeah, in Uganda, a few homes are really having really emphasis on the bed walls, on how these things work out together. And these are things that really make a bedroom, the warmth. So if you had to take this other bedroom, again, a queen size bed, and it's the one with a window on the back porch. Again, you have your very nice bed wall, and then you have your wardrobes with the same sort of fashion again, but this one now has sort of like an exposed shoe rack. The others have these shoe racks but not exposed, but this one has it exposed, and I believe this will be a very good bedroom for the boys. And we boys would, I want to sleep sing on my kicks, Yeah. So I really would love to have my sort of MKBHD 251s here. Is it 251s? Yes. I would love to have my Jordan 1s. I would love to have, my good sneakers. And then the bedroom is also en suite. You have the toilet right there, and then you have your shower. Again, the small trash there, and your vanity right there. And these vanities, I can't stress enough the need of you having your storage right there, for the toiletries and all that. And then when you step out of this room, and I believe we shall be having renders to really show us what's up, what's taking place. So when you step out of this room and head out to the next corridor, so right here, you could step into the master, or you can to this more the kids room. So this is the kids room. Sort of the babies, the real babies, the ones that are kids as queen size bed. I believe this room could also comfortably accommodate 2 single side beds, and then it has a little bit oversized sort of wardrobe. This is to accommodate like 2 people, and then you have the stool area there with their makeup place there. It's a room made to accommodate whether young or old, but more preferably for the young guys. And then it's also en suite, and then you see it has 2 it has the double thing coming in around it. Then it has the water closet there and the walk-in shower. Yeah, and then if you look at, wow, the rain here, that's really nice. I really love showers, but rain heads are the next level. And then you have your trash there, your vanity, your mirror, and I believe the renders will really be popping up. These spaces really look good. And then step out and then head out to the master. So this is the master bedroom, and if you to look at the master bedroom, of course, couple goals, yeah, you have a place to sit and talk about your issues, king sized bed, and then you have the bed wall, and then you have the whole thing going to the ceiling, yeah, and then you have your oversized windows, the 2x2, and then you also have the balcony about you. Still, if the inside place to talk didn't work out, you can take sip coffee at the outside, yeah? And then from right here you could access your walk-in closet. Wow, like have a look at this. And I believe yeah, for this we left that portion open for you to see what takes place there. So you have the shoe racks here, him and hers. I believe this could be hers, that could be him. And then you have the hair makeup area, because man, we really don't want like that. And then you see this is open, the makeup area is open, you have the light centering area, the mirror right there, and then you could have your sort of whole lotions. And I believe there is a render that will really do this justice to show you what actually takes place there. And then here is where you get the door to your bathroom, and then you could see double stuff taking place right there, a double vanity design with the mirror, and yes, the tub. I know this is the master bedroom, everything had to be on. And then you get to have your water closet, the trash coming, and then yep, you're not seeing wrong, 2 rain heads. Exactly, you could take a shower at the same time without squeezing each other, and the ceilings are really nice, coming in really greatly. So if you step out, I believe that's the whole house, and let's really rush out to go and check out the guest wing, and also the chef's kitchen, the stores, the pantries, and everything. All right. So if you saw where we took the exit at the major dining, at the main house dining, yeah, you could take that exit right there, and you see it has a covered sort of walkway, and it's also lit up, to show you that guided way. Then you could head out straight to the guest wing. And then if you're to come to the guest wing, exactly here at the entry, you have the doors right and left. These are similar sized rooms with the shared bathroom right there, of course the toilet, the shower, and the vanity taking place right there with the trash. Trash is very important in the bathroom, guys, very, very important. So step here, and then you have your queen size bed, queen size double bed there, and then you also give them the makeup area. These are rooms to accommodate guests that could come and stay for a very long time. And for the case of this house, remember, it's a house that was made for retirees. The children are the clients, so the children came to me, 2 of them, and they wanted to design a house for their parents. So basically these are their rooms. These are their rooms at the parents' house, because they don't spend a lot of time here, but when they come, they want to still be cozy and comfortable. So this is the other room on the side. Other side is also queen size, and then you also have your focus right there. Are really huge windows. These windows are really huge to an extent, and when you open them, really get those vibes of the balcony vibes. I said that earlier. Yeah, so that is what takes place right in these rooms. I believe I didn't expand a lot here into this room, but yeah, same things taking place. And then I believe you could have renders that will really tell you what's up. And if we step out again and continue, again, the guest wing is really good. It's in a sort of garden vibe. So you walk in and then you have your great privacy. Wow, it's really good. So if you have to continue, let's check out the chef's kitchen. So right here you have this backside. You could put a dog house around there, and then you have your garbage collection area there. It's center. You could access it from either side. So right here on my right, we have the chef's kitchen, and I believe we have renders of this area where we have a lot of stuff taking place right there, and you see you get to have those cooktops. Yeah, that are really cooktops that are really massive with the pot fillers, and then you have your two hoods, and then everything taking place right there, and then your huge sink area right there, and a lot of pantry space. Yeah, so this kitchen is really meant to cater for the normal cookings of the day at home, especially if it's the grandparents' house. You're going to have a lot of grandkids around most of the time in Africa. Yes, and then that means, and could say, why I had to put that in Africa. Other areas I don't know, but in Africa, yes, that is what happens. And that means you're going to do more cooking here, less cooking into the main house, because you're going to be cooking for quite a huge number most of the time. And then we have an outside store, or we still categorize it as a pantry, but this is to store other things like matoke, or the huger supplies, things like posho. Posho is ugali in Kiswahili, I think. And then yeah, but it's maize flour in other language, in English from other places, I think. And then you have yeah, that's it, places to store that such bulk food. And that was our house, really. I really had fun creating this project in a way that I really expanded more in how I would love a guided access house to be, what I would love my guests to see. You have that privacy, you have a continuity, and really the imagining of clay workout. I couldn't be more satisfied than this. More renders will pop out, and yeah, you could see this. And if you enjoyed watching this and would really want to watch more and more, stay around. A lot will be coming. Yeah, do good, and remember to design from the roots. Till next time, thank you for watching. Peace.